Welcome, welcome Billy, welcome Empress Ruby.
Right.
Okay,
A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone present here today. A very warm welcome to Old Passion, Singapore, Malaysia Global. My name is Jeannie Tan, your host today. Old Passion was formed in November 2020 and run by a group of dedicated host team members. We had our first trial webinar on the 23rd of September 2021, and our first public webinar was on the 30th of September 2021 under the mentorship of Dr. Bill Williams. We meet on every Thursday. The mission of All Passion is to ignite passion for humanity, to nurture mindset and leadership for passion and oblast, and to form passion groups for good causes. And today, our speaker is none other than Brother Jeffrey Morlock. Yay!
yay.
Yeah, and thank you for coming to mentor us and to guide us every so
Every
frequent.
month. Yeah.
Yeah, every so
Um,
frequent. Yes. And we welcome you. So before I pass the segment to you, I'll let Mabel to take over the next
yeah.
segment first.
Okay, you still sound so good, Ginny.
Over to you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the Lord heal you, your sore throat. Let me share screen here. And we will play Jeffrey's song To Change the World, Change Your Thoughts.
In the quiet of the night, when the world feels still, thoughts begin to wander, going where they will. Like seeds stretching out, beliefs look for the light, taking roots from the whispers of our dreams each night. Every story we tell and the fear that we face shapes how we see life, it's all interlaced. Fear's just a thing that keeps us restrained. Its negative effect leaves our spirit drained. But with every intention, each with its place, and energy lifts us, then sends us to space. Mindfulness gathered, the way is made plain, to find in the silence our healing domain. So let's tend the garden where buds one day bloom, pull weeds of doubt to give the flowers more room. Emotions and thoughts like words of a song can fill you with faith, so you know you belong. So reframe your thoughts to let confidence flow, then nurture them always. Love the seeds that you sow. Deep roots of streams, keep them steady through storms. Their strength guides your heart as each new vision forms. So plant with intention the beliefs in your mind. With every new one you make, a dream gets refined. Your change is born inward, we garner new sight. As each seed you nurture turns darkness to light. So let's tend the garden with buds named no poet of doubt, to give the flowers more room. Emotion and thoughts like words of a song can fill you with space, say you know you belong. So reframe your thoughts to let confidence flow, then nurture them always. Love the seeds that you sow. The clouds of distraction will try to confine, but the sun of truth looks for base to shine. A parable of seeds plants hope in the mind, so thoughts become things causing dreams align. Cause the garden of wisdom, where peace starts to grow, begins with your love and the seeds that you sow. So let's tend the garden where buds one day bloom, for weeds of doubt to give the flowers more room. Emotion and thoughts like words of a soldier fills you the faith, so you know you belong. So refrain your thought to the confidence soul, then nurture them always. Love the seeds that you sow. Emotions and thoughts are like words of a song to fill us with faith, so we know we belong. So refrain your thoughts, so let confidence flow, then nurture them always. Love the seeds that you sow.
Wonderful. Let me stop share and come back. And really, Brother Jeffrey is no stranger to us, but I still really need to introduce him because this recording may go to many others. Jeffrey's bring a heartfelt voice to his writing. He is sharing from his book called Shape to Change the World, Change Your Thought, and he is a storyteller. Now, so his writing is shaped by real life experiences in military, communities, and family orientated life. His work blends emotional honesty with a touch of mystery, capturing how ordinary moments can carry the deepest meaning. Just want to catch one of his last slide. Emotions from the song that we have just heard. Emotions and thoughts are like words of a song to fill us with faith so we know we belong. So refrain your thoughts to let confidence flow, then nurture them always. Love the seeds that you sow. Brother Jeffrey has another song which I love very much, especially even the wordings called On Purpose. On Purpose. And I just want to read some wordings from the song On Purpose. But there's a spark in every heart where your dreams are meant to grow. Take a step to claim your story. Put your inner light glow. Set a goal, make it yours. Watch your spirit start to soar. Feel the fire in your soul. Take control, be whole. Let's live on purpose with every choice we make. Forgive those burdens for all our hearts' sake. So today he's going to share with us from his book To Change Your World, Change Your Thought. And the topic today is from chapter 5, The Energy of Creation. Brother Jeffrey, all yours. Share your heart out with us today and empower us. Amen.
Wow. Wow. Excuse me. Thank you. But you make me sound so good when you read those things out like that. This is the second week in a row that I've listened to that song. That song is so fast. I really need to redo it and slow it down and put it in a different voice so that we can really get the words that are being said. And I appreciate you allowing me to see that from a third point of view, so to speak. But yes, today we are talking about the energy of creation, and I appreciate so much Mabel and obviously Jean and Faith and everybody for this platform and for your consistency in presenting. I know that you present every week of every month, and that is certainly appreciated by me and by so many others. So thank you so much for having me here. It is a pleasure, and I certainly appreciate it. Now, the energy of creation for us, well, I mean, quite honestly, it begins with a thought. It begins inside our head, inside what our mindset is, right? Because everything that we see and everything we touch and everything we experience is all energy. It's all made of energy. It's shaped from the unseen world of infinite potential. Um, we know that we've called this the unified field or the quantified or the quantum field. We've called it the spiritual realm. It's called a lot of things. Um, but as tradition and religious teachings describe it, it contains the raw material that all has been, is, or ever could be. Our thoughts are fueled by the emotion that we have. So you have the thoughts, and then you have the emotion that adds energy to them, magnetic energy. And that kind of acts like a lens um, through which our electromagnetic energy of thoughts and emotion go through, and it draws back to us as it goes out in a wave. It draws back possibilities from that unifying field, from the spiritual realm into our physical reality. And today we're going to talk about how energy forms creation and how we can align our thoughts to manifest or to make or create what we want, our desires, right? Whether it's abundance or whether it's good health, maybe a new career, or maybe you just want to have a good day, right? We can do that. So let's start talking about maybe the nature of energy, what it is, what's it's comprised of, and that sort of thing. Uh, Energy is the foundation of all creation. It exists in either waves or particles. And the reality that we see around us, that we perceive, right? The PC screen we're looking at, the tables it's on, the trees outside, the bugs that walk across the dirt, even the machines, our cars, whatever, you name it. It is all energy. If you see it and you can feel it and touch it and use your senses for it, it's energy in particle form. And this is to say that it's energy that's been slowed down enough to create the solid world that we experience. The best analogy that I've come up with is when you look at water and it's really hot and those water molecules are really moving fast because there's a lot of energy in them. You can't see it. It's water vapor. It's a water gas in a way, right? I mean, it's just out bouncing around. You can't see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, nothing. But if you cool that down, then it starts to condensate. Then it starts to go from that steam or that invisibility down to, actually it goes from you not being able to see it, it becomes steam as it gets cooler, and then the steam, once you cool it, it starts to condensate on surfaces, so you see it as water droplets, right? And if you cool it even more, it freezes and becomes really, really hard. And that's kind of like what we're talking about with the energy of the united or the unified field, in that as potential, everything is just kind of hanging out there. You can't see it. You don't know it's out there. But as you put energy out and it interacts with the unified field, it starts to slow down the things that you're attracting so that they start to take form. Okay. Um, the world is like, what you see around us is like a construction scaffold. If you've seen these buildings that have large scaffolding built up on the outside of it, where people get on there and they hold their equipment and they build the building from these scaffolding. Well, I use that scaffolding for construction purposes as an analogy to say that that scaffold, the scaffolding that we use is like 99% space. It's just, it looks like a grid or something. There's not much to it. Well, the energy that forms a matrix is the same thing, right? The energy that we call reality from quantum physics reveals this reality. It emerges from an invisible field where the possibilities exist, all the potentials. And that tells us, that as it comes into our reality, that everything that is experienced by our senses is like that scaffolding in the table that we're sitting on, or the chair, the things that we're looking at, the cup in my hand. They're 99.9999% space, even though it does feel rather hard. We call reality quantum physics, or should I say, quantum physics tells us that our reality is revealed or emerges from this invisible field where the possibilities and potentials exist as waves until they're focused by our observation. When we start focusing on them with intention or attention, right, putting our focus on them, there was a double slit experiment that was done many years ago. First, way a long time ago, back in 1804, actually. It was conducted by a guy named Thomas Young. And he showed that particles, they acted as waves until they were observed. In other words, until somebody watched them or focused on them or put their attention on them. Not that you can see molecules or, atoms, but when you put your attention on them, that energy, that subtle energy of your attention and your focus actually caused them to go from a wave form into a particle form and start to solidify into what becomes our eventually our reality. Um, they collapse from the unified field into our reality. Isaac Newton, Sir Isaac Newton, his earlier experience or experiments rather with light showed the same thing. I mean, they revealed its dual wave particle nature, and so we know that that's founded in science. And he also hinted that our attention to that shapes outcomes. So there's a getting more contemporary. There's studies that were done by a physicist named David Bohm, Bohm, back in 1980, a quantum physicist, and he expanded this view a little bit when he said, there is a implicate order, which he called a hidden field where all possibilities coexist. Obviously, talking about Einstein's unified field. And coming from the invisible potentials into reality through our observation. Basically said what the other guys did. They said, hey, I concur, I believe everything I've ever learned or experimented with leads me to believe this, like the double slit experiment. Bohm's work suggested our thoughts as absorbed or as observers draws our desires from this field and kind of freezes it into our reality. And you could think of the quantum field as an infinite playlist of songs. And when you think about a particular song, that thought goes and it'll pull that song so that you can listen to it, or in this case, so that you can feel it and experience it with your senses. In that our attention selects what plays in our life. So this is to say that when we focus on abundance or anything else, we draw it into us in a sense. Now, if you connected that with some ancient teachings, maybe like Hebrews 11 in the Bible, the Christian Bible, where it says what is seen was not made out of what is visible. This truth is mirrored in quantum findings, obviously, as well as religious and other philosophical teachings. I mean, if you look at the Buddhist teachings, they describe the mind as a creator of reality, where focused intention shapes the world. If you're looking at Taoist teachings, in that philosophy, they've got the concept of flowing with the universe's energy, suggesting that it aligns thoughts within this field and brings harmony and manifestation. Our thoughts as observers, as folks that can focus on a particular something, right? Puts our thought and our mind together and our heart together and focus on what it is that we want or desire, then as observers, we influence this matrix. And as such, we kind of act like a sculpture that is channeling or chiseling, perhaps is a better word, that potential that we're thinking about into reality. It reminds me of um, who was that great sculptor, Michelangelo. I think when he looked at a rock, he didn't say, I'm going to make that into something. He says, I see the sculpture that's already there, and I'm going to chisel away the excess and reveal what's already there. And that's kind of what we do. Is it's already there in a full field of potential. We're just bringing it into our reality. That attention, like when we pray, and that's what attention is, when we pray or when we meditate with clarity, that's what's aligning the energy with the universe's infinite possibilities. So I guess as long as in line with prayer, when we see this manifestation, it's through asking and receiving. Um, if you go to, like in Matthew, I think chapter 7 and chapter 21, it talks about it's a promise. Actually, it promises that when we ask for something in faith, it's given to us. um, in Hinduism, they've got what they call a sankalpa, and that is a heartfelt resolve connecting to one's inner values and spiritual aspirations that mirrors the same thing. In Ephesians, it says that we've already been given every spiritual blessing in the heavenly realms. And it's talking about that unified field of potential where everything already exists. And once you ask for it, you can receive it. And by receiving it, I'm just meaning you're drawing it to us, right? Meaning that we've been given all these potentials. We just got to draw them to us. And science supports this in that um, focusing on a goal, putting our attention on a particular goal will activate what we call the brain's reticular activating system. I think I've mentioned this previously. And when we do that, that is our brain and our thoughts and the subconscious working to help us spot opportunities that go in line with what it is that we're thinking about. Because every thought exists as potential in this field. When we're focusing on a desire, perhaps we got another car not too long ago, so I'll use that as an example. When you focus on perhaps, maybe another car, a new car, that that thought and that car and everything already exists in potential. So when you have that thought, which is of the same vibration, and it goes out, it matches, and it starts pulling that into our reality. So when we talk about asking, we should probably need to know that asking is all about our intention, not the words that we use to ask, even though words do have power and they have frequency and words can carry thought forms. That is true. But the universe sees our focus as the request, whether positive or negative, wanted or unwanted. So we need to be careful on what we dwell on, right? The law of attraction suggests that, hey, what you focus on, what your predominant thought is, whether you want it or not, that's going to shape your reality. That would explain why a lot of people that were brought up with a mindset of poverty and lack and unworthiness have carried that into their adulthood. And that's why they're experiencing so much poverty, lack, and unworthiness, is because it was in them and they predominantly have that as a backup or a back thought in their brain all the time. To understand that a little bit, when we have our attention, intention, even our focus on something, that is the equivalent of asking for it. And when we look at something that we may or may not even want in that way, then it's going to get attracted to us, right? Some of these interpretations that I'll talk about, they may argue that focusing on prosperity affects or attracts for us more prosperity, while dwelling on poverty actually reinforces the poverty mindset, and that will effectively stop prosperity from reaching us. Which I said that to say this, that if you're focusing on prosperity and that's your dominant thought, then prosperity can reach you. But if your dominant thought is more of, I got to be careful about what I'm spending, I've got to be careful about the resources I've had because that's all I've got and there aren't any more, that doesn't necessarily bring you poverty. What it does is it stops prosperity from coming to you, so that you're living in that state of poverty. In a sense, what I'm saying is, as a result, dwelling on lack, in a sense, keeps you in lack and attracts more lack. And this polarity, the wanted versus the unwanted, means that knowing prosperity highlights poverty. And I know that sounds strange, so I'll kind of put it like this. When you walk outside and you pick up a stick, it doesn't matter what stick, what size, how big, how small, what it's made of. That stick has got two ends. No matter what, it's going to have two ends to it. That's what I mean by duality. Meaning, if you've got love, then you've got fear. If you've got prosperity, on the other end of that, you've got lack. If you've got joy, on the other end of that, you've got despair. Every coin has two sides. So you see what I'm saying is that you can't have one without the other. I think Merlin said it, Merlin the magician, a long time ago, when he was talking to somebody about love, and he said, well, love is true and love exists, but so does fear, and you can't have one without the other. It just doesn't work like that. So focusing on prosperity can bring you prosperity, but if you're focusing on the other side of that, which is lack, then that will stop that other prosperity from coming to you, or more prosperity. The idea of this polarity means that contrasting experiences like wealth and poverty help to define each other. And some sources would suggest that if you constantly think about financial struggles, then you may unintentionally attract more of them. Whereas focusing on abundance can shift your circumstances and bring that. Um, to that end, I've often used the verse in Proverbs in the Bible that says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." But if you really look at what that means, it'll help to illustrate what I'm trying to get across here, because I think it's a good point in that it bespeaks that what we think about shapes our reality. And this aligns obviously with neuroscience, showing beliefs rewire the brain. Obviously, that came from one of my favorite authors in Good Guys. His name is Dr. Dispenza, Joe Dispenza. He wrote a book back in 2017 about it. But let me point out, just kind of for clarity, that the translation for that verse it's been debated for a while among biblical scholars anyway. Modern translations make it more like, as a man thinketh, he's like one. This is a good way to put it. That it's not so much as you think, but it's more about if you are always inwardly thinking about or calculating, right? Then the translation's more like, for he is like one that is inwardly calculating, or he's the kind of person that's always thinking about the cost of something. And I'm speaking directly here to poverty and resources and abundance and that sort of thing. If you're always thinking about the cost, then obviously you're not thinking about there is total complete abundance and there's always enough and I deserve that. You're thinking about I've got to be careful about what I've got and what is costing me, because I've got a little bit and there's not any more. So it's not necessarily as you think you will be, but he's mostly saying if you're continually thinking about the cost of something, then you're not focused on prosperity. You're thinking about lack, and you've got a lack mindset. But the broader concept that I'm trying to get across is that thoughts influence our character, and circumstances that we're interested in here are that it appears across a lot of religious and philosophical traditions. Um, Buddhists have several teachings that paralyze. Oh, I wonder if that was Freudian. That parallel this concept, right? In one of them is what's called the Dhammapada state, in that all that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything, and what we think we become. And that obviously parallels the biblical version of what we just went through. In Buddhism, what they say is a person's words, thoughts, and actions form the basis for good and bad karma. Good deeds lead to good karmic results. I mean, that's one of their teachings. This particular philosophy, the Buddhist philosophy, teaches that all phenomena and all of such things are manifestations of consciousness. In other words, we create them from our consciousness, and that suggests that mental states directly influence our perceived reality, which is what we're talking about, the energy here. Hindu philosophy, the same thing. It teaches that you are what your deep driving desire is. As your desire is, so is your will, and as your will is, so is your deed. So that means as your deed is, so is your destiny. Meaning what you think about all the time and what you put out is what you're going to get back into your destiny or your reality. Krishna teaches Arjuna, Arjuna, and it teaches that a person develops the characteristics of that on which he meditates. And there's also a concept of mind in Vedantic, Vedantic teachings that emphasize that mental modifications, which is a kind of a unique word that they use, shapes one's experience of reality. And there's other philosophical traditions that go along with this. Stoicism, we've probably all heard of Marcus Aurelius, where he said, that very little is needed to make a happy life. It's all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Hermeticism, same type of thing, as above, so below, as within, so without. In other words, what you have within you, you will manifest on the outside, suggesting internal states that can also manifest externally. In Taoism, which I mentioned Taoist teachings a little bit ago, they have similar concepts about how one's inner nature shapes our experience. And they say it like this. They say, the sage does not attempt anything very big and thus achieves greatness. Now, that was a little bit covert in its thinking to me. I'm not really sure how I came across that, but they're basically saying whatever is in you and it's real and you're generating it for the outside. That's how you're creating big and little things, I think. Now obviously we've also got the Quran, which says, indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. So until you change how you are on the inside, nothing on the outside is going to change. And that's a pretty good way to put it. We also see in ancient Greek philosophy, there was a guy named Heraclitus that taught character is destiny. And there was later philosophers rather, like Plotinus, that emphasized how contemplation or meditation shapes your being. Anyway, all of these traditions and everything that I'm mentioning, they all share the common insight that mental states, our mindset, and our habitual thought patterns, our intentions, have very profound effects on character development, life circumstances, and how we experience our reality. Like we said, the universe sees intention as a form of asking. They see our attention on something as asking for it. They say, oh, he's thinking really hard about this. They must want it. You know what I mean? So our thoughts and our emotions vibrate at frequencies that attract those matching experiences that already exist in the potential field. And this means visualizing a goal with gratitude actually aligns us with that goal in the quantum field. Example that I like to use a lot was Walt Disney. He envisioned, a magical Disneyland. He didn't have the money to do that. I mean, he was financially struggling with it, but he sketched out his ideas and he did it with passion. I mean, he drew pictures of this and he felt the joy of families laughing and families having a good time and just enjoying each other and the magic that was around them, turning this empty field that he had, a large, huge, many acres, huge empty field, into a global phenomenon that it is right now. And all that started in 1955. And we can do that same sort of thing by holding a vivid vision, feeling its clarity, making it real. According to Dr. Dispenza, for those that might not know, he's a renowned researcher in neuroscience and epigenetics and quantum physics. He says, that our thoughts are electrical impulses in the brain, and he has developed a rather compelling theory, I think, regarding the relationship between thoughts, emotions, and the electromagnetic field. And according to his work, thoughts are electrically charged, while our heightened emotions, right, which come from our hearts, especially gratitude, thankfulness, and compassion in particular, those are magnetically charged. And when you combine those, you get what we call heart-brain coherence, and that sends a very powerful, subtle electromagnetic energy signal out into the unified field. And that's what really starts to cool things down a bit and draw those things back to your reality. Thoughts with an electrical charge, when they're combined with that heightened emotion, with that the magnetic energy of our heart, That's what creates that electromagnetic wave and draws it all back to us. And that's in his book that he wrote back in, 8 years ago, back in 2017. There's another young man, and I use that rather loosely because I think he's got to be 70, but he's absolutely brilliant. His name is Greg Braden. I think he's a geologist by trade, but he talks about the lost gospel of Thomas, which he's done a lot of work with indigenous works and cultural works. And the lost gospel of Thomas was a text that was discovered in 1945, and it teaches that unifying thought and emotion, in other words, putting these together, thought and emotion, creates miracles. In particular, there's a verse there. These documents, the lost Gospel of Thomas and many others, came to light through discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls and a lot of other documents that are held in the Nag Hammadi Library. So it's very well known and taken as very real. I mean, these documents were done a long time ago in ancient Hebrew and before, Sanskrit. But in verse 106 of the Lost Gospel of Thomas, it actually says, when you make those two, or the two, talking about thought and emotion, as one, you will say to the mountain, move away, and it will move away. And this aligns with our electromagnetic wave, right? Our thoughts, the electrical thoughts and the emotion of our heart, that wave broadcasting the signal into the quantum field. Like Walt Disney's passionate vision for Disneyland, that wave signals to the quantum field, hey, I'm ready for this to happen, and I'm calling it to me, and it collapses the possibility of that vision into reality faster. There's also, and I've talked about heart map studies a few times that show that heart-centered emotions amplify the signal, and that creates the coherence between our heart and our mind. And when we think, hey, I'm thriving, and we feel gratitude at that, that's what we're broadcasting, a very powerful wave of energy that starts to amplify that thriving and bring it back to our reality. But it's got to be our dominant thought. And by that, I don't mean we got to meditate it once or twice. I mean, it's got to be our underlining belief and our underlining thought, so that it's constantly with consistency going out, and it's working at bringing these things down. Because as you know, with our water analogy, if you've got a bowl of water and you have maybe 20 minutes of sub-zero, you put it in the freezer, it's going to freeze. But if you pull it back out of that, it's going to turn right back into water. So what I'm saying, you've got to have that dominant thought going all the time and really believe it, because that's what brings it and holds it in our reality. If you bring something into your life, and then later, for whatever reason, you change your belief and say, oh, what was I thinking? That could never be, like your ego will tell you sometimes. Then sooner or later, that's going to find itself disappearing out of your life, and you're not going to have it anymore. We don't want that to happen. I think I sent Mabel a simple intention activation exercise that I also collated. I don't even know if that's a word. Included in my the book, chapter 5 of the book. If you want to make your goals feel real and really bring them closer, this exercise could help you focus your thoughts and your energy to align with your vision or your dreams, what it is that you want, like tuning into a positive vibe, so to speak, right? So the first thing you do is just get comfortable. Find your quiet spot or sit calmly somewhere and picture the goal that gets you excited. I talk about using your passion, following your passion. I say things jazz me up. That's what I'm talking about. Whatever gets you excited. Sometimes you get excited about something, you get goosebumps. That's the spirit saying, hey, you're on the right path. Go with it. So just picture what gets you excited, starting a new career, that new car, whatever, right? And then just relax deeply. Take a few short, slow breaths, get super relaxed. Just feel like you're kind of drifting off to sleep and getting that theta state. This opens your mind up to possibilities. And then make it real. Imagine it. Imagine your goal is happening now. It's all about being in the present. It's all about using verbs. I am doing this. I am creating, not I want. If you start saying, I want to have $1 million, the universe is saying, okay, right now he's wanting. So I guess he must want to want. So we're going to send him a whole lot of wanting, and we're going to keep that $1 million out in the future. So he's always wanting because apparently he's thinking about wanting, must be what he wants. No, I am getting richer every day. Make it believable. I am accruing different ways to get more wealth every day. I am living in abundance. It goes back to that I am statement that is in the Bible where God said, I am that I am. And if you put that, take that word that out and you replace what you want, I am living in abundance. I am. See what I'm saying? That really helps you make it real in the moment. And you've got to picture details, right? Like like what is it in your vision? What are you hearing? What are you looking at, the bright red color of the car and the nice shiny rims on it? Are you listening to the way it hums? Are you turning the dial on the brand new state of the art radio? I mean, make it feel real and start bringing that in and keep that vision. And then feel good about it. Feel the gratitude for having that. Oh, wow, I'm so thankful that I've got this. You know what? I'm taking it everywhere that I go, and people are looking at me and they're going, wow, that's a nice car, whatever. Let the gratitude fill you up as if your dream is already yours. Dr. Dispenza talks about that, and he says, feel as if. Greg Braden does the same thing. Feel as if it's already happened. And getting back to the Bible, where Jesus said, hey, if you pray believing that you have it, right? If you believe, which means you feel that you've got it, then you will have it. Basic. The puppies just got excited. But and then keep it going. Jot down a short story, a present tense statement about what it is you believe. I'm thriving in my dream job. I'm loving my new car. I love the way I feel when I'm in it. Feel happy, feel fulfilled, and keep it going. Read a statement about read your statement that you write. Read it out loud every day or every other day or once a week. So anyway, think of it as all planting seeds. Love the seeds that you sow while you're doing it all. And by understanding energy's role in all this, we understand more about what our thoughts are and what our emotions are and how they go out and how they really help us to develop in our own reality what we want, because we're shaping from the unseen the things that we see, and we're creating a reality that matches these dreams. I mean, some of us aren't, because we're living a reality we really don't want and don't understand. That's the dominant thought that we have. So anyway, next month we're going to hit chapter 6. We're going to talk about the law of attraction and give you a practical framework for focusing your energy. Thank you. I appreciate it, Mabel, and I'll turn it right back over to you.
Sorry, I was muted. Anyone has anything to say? John Barilla is not here to go to take the first round. Okay. If not, you know,
Mabel, I'm here. I'm not. I don't have
John,
my camera. Yeah, I've
John,
been
JJ, the
listening.
Tin Man. Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm. I'm so sorry. I got in late, and I've been listening, but I've had trouble with my phone today. I've got like viruses. It's actually still happening, but I got on Zoom, but it can knock me off at any second. I just
Okay.
wanted to come on and say, hey, I heard most of Jeffrey there, but I
Hey,
didn't hear it all, and I don't,
wonderful.
so I won't comment exactly,
Yeah.
except that I'm here, and I'm kind of not going to put on my video because weird things are happening. I apologize, but the best I could do today is just come on and say hello. I'm here at the last second. That's
Okay,
all.
great. Wonderful.
All righty.
Wonderful. Well, Jeffrey, when you were going through the all the deep digging out what is energy, uh, your intention, your words, what gave me the perfect scenario of what's happening in our midst, in our movement, is really the energy. in creating this very movement of Mr. Ash Mufara. You know, it is Ash himself, his personality, his energy when he comes on, when he speaks, when he share his his deepest intention to make the world a better place. I think we see this and we see his energy, and that's why we are still here. Really, we are still here because of him, nothing else. Because of him, even when he is not with us, sometimes, in the back and quiet, but we feel his intense energy weeks and months before, and that keeps us going. And then is reciprocal when he sees us, O News 11, and even before when he came on, when he saw our response, the three questions that he asked, when he sees us, our presence, our commitment, we give him the energy also to move on, to fight on. So really it evolves, and this cycle and this intertwine of our belief in him, his belief in us, our movement keeps the whole thing still alive and moving. And what is best that it is evolving, generating, creating the new vehicle. So all this energy that you are talking about, I think we can see it in our very movement, in our very family here with Mr. Ash Mufara. All the energy, as I think we are the sub energy of God. God says He speaks, let there be light, and there was light. All energy comes from the highest source, which is God. And for this very new vehicle that Ash Mufara states, he took he's taking no credit. He said this new vehicle is from God. And I believe that because he stays on. Anyway, the whole movement, I wanted to say God sees his commitment and gives to him, but actually the whole thing is God's movement, and it's answered by this man Ash Mufara. So the pull and the push, the energy, the expectation, the focus, the goal, the destiny, the vision, all are coming to fruition of this new vehicle. We really must appreciate this man, Mr. Ash Mufara, of character, of substance, because he refused to take the negative end of the stick, Jeffrey. The stick that he is holding or was holding, it has two ends too. You know, uh, all the attacks and obstacles in the end, he refused to take the negative end of the stick. So really, and just now, when you mentioned about Disneyland and Disney, how he sketched out the ideas. I think in the worst of the moment, Ash Mufara continued to sketch out in the midst of in the midst of going to hell every day. He says he still sketch out the idea from God, this new vehicle. So we really want to say how powerful this energy is, how powerful being staying positive is. This very movement is coming forth from a very positive uh, energy, thoughts, emotion, love for us. His love for us is so great that he refused to give way. And something I learned about passion, we know, this group is called Passion. And I believe in the power of passion because from passion comes our stickability, through it. And passion is not always surrounding a love feeling. It's because of passion we have the energy to overcome obstacles. And what we have gone through as a group, I think this is really positive energy in action. So this is how, when you were talking about various forms of energy, water molecules, steam, and reality, how the our thoughts come through. I really can I can think of what Ash Mufara is going through, was what he went through, and he stayed on. He has said many times that we are his motivation. So that's power and energy. So people like yourself, Jeffrey, one of the leaders in the group here, definitely would have given him the the energy to carry on this movement. So this is how I feel the energy of creation has created this movement. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Wow. Wow. Do you mind if I actually chime in on that? Because you hit some good points. And I love the idea that you used the ends of the stick, because that is happening within the movement that you're talking about with Mr. Mufara.
Mm,
Now, my take on this, Mr. Mufara's energy, charismatic, visionary,
mm,
often spiritually framed. We talk about, that God is driving this thing, and all of that acts as a catalyst, a catalytic first force, if you will, that deeply resonates with all of us, right? I
mm,
mean, and it creates, when you look at the energy, it creates a feedback loop that
mm,
sustains the movement. We've seen that, where what you said was feeding, it works both ways, we feed off it. His messaging, I mean, he gives us uh, promises global upliftment and personal empowerment, often invokes divine purpose, technological revolution. I mean, who does not love that? We all do it, and we tune into it, and this combination generates the potential emotional charge that attracts individuals that are looking for transformation. They're
mm,
looking for financial freedom. They're looking for that sense of belonging to something larger than ourselves that we can all move forward with and develop and grow into. And so that's really the magic of it, right? Everybody, everybody involved in it, right? all,
mm,
all of the followers in turn amplify the energy by mirroring. If you've noticed, when he comes out with a message, with the O News, whatever language is in that, you immediately within hours start to see followers reflecting that same language. Language has power, words have power, right?
mm,
They amplify his energy by mirroring his own language, sharing
mm,
testimonials, talking about how great it is, reinforcing the belief that the movement is ordained to change the world, right?
mm,
And this dynamic is probably less transactional and more devotional, right? Many of us, a lot of followers that are on board with this new direction, this new vehicle that we're developing. A lot of them refer to Mr. Mufara very almost reverently, right? In terms of revering him. Um, some platforms describe him as, well, like you said, there's two ends with a stick, right? What I'm saying is the reciprocal energy exchange. Mr. Mufara's visionary declarations, if you will, they fuel hope. And these declarations, the way he talks and his visions help us to believe in what he's saying, which kind of reinforces his authority as we see it, and it creates a self-sustaining momentum. But you're absolutely right. I mean, this is a classic example of energy being amplified back
mm,
and forth. And I will say there are all of us here on this platform and the followers and those moving forward with this new vehicle, we've picked up the positive energy on one end of the stick, and there's other folks that have grabbed the other end of the stick and they're saying, no, it's not as you guys say it is, it's this way. So, but you're right,
mm,
visionary, lots of good energy. You never find him, even in the worst circumstances, He's looking for the pony. He's looking for the bright side. He's saying, hey, the glass is still half full, not half empty. So you're
Mm,
absolutely right. And it's somebody that we can certainly keep our eyes on and keep looking forward. And just as we all move forward, we move forward. Keep our hope going and just know that energy is going to be there regardless. So I'm going to shut
yeah,
up.
yeah,
I think I'm
yeah,
rambling.
yeah. Okay. So, if no more comments, maybe Ginny, can I read end by reading a little bit about O News 11? Jeffrey, you have anything else to add before we close?
No, I think we're in a waiting mode. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of us are waiting to move forward in our lives, and we're just doing daily things
Yeah,
until something
yeah, yeah.
happens that gets us going. So while
Correct.
we're waiting, let's bloom where we're planted.
Okay. Now, just a little extract of what the O News 11 is. It says, remember this, at the heart of this journey is our shared vision, uplifting humanity by empowering individuals of all ages and walks of life through educational, personal development, and that's what we are doing, and financial well being. We are committed to turning complexity into simplicity with affordable, usable, user-friendly technology, including AI with a heart. So meaningful transformation becomes accessible to all of us. So this last paragraph, it says, with this in mind, we are developing powerful applications designed to help every mankind. And what he says here now is, come September, details of these applications and the new direction we are taking will be announced during a live global update coming in September, just round the corner. Together, we are moving forward with clarity, strength, and purpose. So stay tuned to the official date and time. So this is kind of the last portion of O News 11. Round the corner, September is just next week, and he will start releasing what he has installed for us. So stay tuned. Jeannie, we say goodbye to everyone.
Yes, Mabel, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jeffrey. And see you next week with chapter 6. Thank you, Dr. Derek. We see you here with us, Dr. Doris, uh, Mr. Boyle Kumar Gupta, and of course, John Barilla.
Yes.
Sarah, nice to see you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am. Thank you, all of
Okay.
you.
And Miss Sarah, she's waving.
Miss Sarah,
Thank
you
you.
are visible today. And of course, Apple Tree is still around. Yeah, Dr. Derek.
Yeah, Dr. Derek.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice
Okay.
blessings, plenty, a lot of lovely love to everyone as King Jeffrey Morlock on the platform here. Thank you very much. That was an awesome presentation, really as usual. Really appreciate. Um, Actually, thank you very much, Queen Mother and Queen Jenny and Queen Faith and everyone on this wonderful platform. Actually, we need to get out of waiting mode. We need to get out of waiting mode because we're not waiting anymore. And if you are waiting, stop waiting. What we need right now, if you haven't started already, is self-development to meet what is coming. Stop waiting. Stop waiting. Yeah, that's not a good place to be. Because when you wait, you idle. Self-development is where we should have been. at least for the past year, we should have been in the mode of self-development. And with all of these presentation, especially from our awesome King Jeffrey Morlock, it, it's self-development because the mindset, the mindset is affected by two things. Two things. One, the physical, which of course I call the money, right? And we're not getting money now. So we have to be patient for that aspect. But the next thing is the mental. And that is why 90% of people that win lotto, they don't have anything to show within 3 years because they did not have the mental capacity to absorb the physical, which is the money. All right. So the money is coming. Ashma Forest said that over and over and over and over and over. Let us prepare ourselves to win. Let us prepare ourselves mentally. Let us prepare ourselves so that when the physical come, right, we are already organized and mentally prepared for it. So no time to wait. No time to wait. Let us, if you have not started already, let us have a lot of self-development. King Jeffrey does a lot of books. Let us do self-development so that we can be ready to move forward. I thank you. I appreciate.
Yep, that's what his book and what he's sharing change the world, change your thought first. So that's good.
Mhm.
And that's a good way to end the day. No more waiting, but anticipating and growing. Okay. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Derek, for coming in,
Bloom
and
where you're
Jeffrey.
planted.
Huh?
Bloom where you're planted. That's
Okay.
what that
Bloom.
development is. Bloom.
Amen.
Wherever you
Bloom.
are right now, bloom there. That's
Yes,
that
yes,
development
yes,
you're talking about.
yes. We are on the right track. Okay. Good night, everyone. See you next week. Thank
Good
you.
night. Good night,
Let
all.
me stop.
Good night.